Welcome to a Rooster Talk, where we talk with ASX companies on their stories and get an update of what's been happening since our last conversation. Today I've got Cooper Metals here, who has a project in, the major project is in the Mount Isa area there. Ian Warland is the main man, and Ian has been on several Coffee with Samsos. So I welcome back, Ian.
Yeah, thank you, Samso. It's great to be here again.
Yep. So, in the sense of what's been happening, obviously since our last conversation in December, lots has happened. Your share price have gone to the moon, and probably stayed somewhere in around that space. Let us know what's been happening.
Well, yeah, it's been a busy time, even though it's been, I guess, we've had Christmas since then in January. We were waiting for our results from the geochemistry around some of our main projects and our main prospects at Mount Isa East. So we got some geochem back from Solomon and from Python prospect, and had some really good copper and gold results there from rock chip sampling. So we managed to secure an EM survey over those two prospects. And that's what we've been doing over the last few weeks. In between rainstorms and things, the guys have been out there doing a high-powered fixed loop EM survey. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that announcement that came out. It'd be good to get an understanding of fixed loop, VTEM. They're all very big words that our industry love, and I like to get you guys to just give us a rundown of what it actually means and the impact or potential impact of the results.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So we use a consultant geophysicist that I've been working with for many years now, and he's very experienced. So we use his guidance to tailor the right tool. There's many geophysical tools out there that you can use out of your toolbox, and you try and tailor that right tool for the type of deposit that you're looking for. So in the Mount Isa area, we're looking for these iron sulphide copper gold deposits. So they tend to have a lot of sulphide with them, pyrite, chalcopyrite, or pyrrhotite, and sulphide shows up in electromagnetic surveys. So we knew from the airborne EM survey that was done by the government in the area, they did a big regional program, say 4 or 5 years ago, and we found that there were some anomalies that couldn't be explained by anything. And so we thought, well, they might be indicating that there's sulphides present underground. And two of these airborne EM anomalies, one occurred at Python and one occurred at King Solomon, which was a bit fortuitous because the regional survey does very wide spaced lines at 2 kilometres apart. So it was pretty lucky that that the airborne had picked that up. So that was one of the reasons really for going in and trying an on-ground EM survey, which gives you a lot more information. So you can tailor that EM survey, the fixed loop EM, over your prospect area, and if there's sulphides there, then you should be able to create a model in the computer that indicates what the size and shape and the dip and the strike of that body is. So that's why we picked the high-powered fixed loop EM.
Okay. Is Python and King Solomon sort of the main focus in that swag of projects, because you've picked up another batch of projects to the north of your existing tenements that we spoke about previously? Can you just give us a narrative of the thinking that you guys are running?
Yeah, okay. So during the I guess the IPO time, so when we were putting all the information together and reviewing the project, we came up with 5 main areas of focus based on the previous sort of mineral occurrences that had been found and previous exploration work that had been done. And so therefore part of that was Python and King Solomon were identified during that process. So they were areas that we could go to already that had some old workings. We could take some samples from there and get an indication of, you know, the size of the mineralization there, or the potential. And we noticed that there wasn't any drilling, especially at King Solomon, that had been done in the past. So we thought they were good areas to test out initially our workload. So that's why we're attracted to Python and King Solomon initially. And, you know, the fixed loop EM has really played that out now. We've got a strong conductor at Python. Interestingly, that conductor is about 400 meters long, 100 meters down dip, and it's plunging to the southeast, and it's coincident with a large regional fault in the area. So we think that's really could have been important, that fault, for transporting the mineralized fluids up into the Earth's crust and then precipitate out an ore body. So we're excited about that Python conductor, and you know, we plan to drill test that as soon as we possibly can.
Okay, and I mean, we can't go past this conversation without talking about your neighbour Carnaby, who had a discovery of such, and obviously that's created a lot of excitement in share price for yourself and for them. How has that helped in terms of, apart from the share price and things like that? Have you guys sort of looked at what they've discovered and go, hey, you know, maybe this looks like this, or are they different?
Well, there's a lot of similarities. So Carnaby tenements are only 10 kilometres away from our southern boundary. So they're close geographically. They're close geologically as well. So the Carnaby, Lady Fanny, Prospect, and now Nil Desperandum, they're in the Mary Kathleen domain, which is part of the Mount Isa inlier. Now, we have quite a chunk of that Mary Kathleen domain in our ground. So we have the right geology, and also the deposits normally form on large structures within the Mary Kathleen domain, and those structures might be trending northerly, northwesterly and northeasterly, and we have a number of those structure as well. So we think we have a lot of we have the favourable host rocks, favourable structures. So there's a lot of similarities to our ground and to what we're seeing in our ground with the Carnaby ground as well. So they've been using, I believe, IP quite a bit more for their geophysics on ground, and we're looking at trialling IP as well. EM, you know, while I'm not a geophysical expert, but I believe the sulphides that you see at Carnaby that they're talking about will probably show up in an EM survey as well. They should do. So, so we're following a similar sort of strategy. We're doing mapping and sampling, geochemistry, following that up with geophysics, finding a right target, and then drill testing.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I'm looking at your map here, when in your last announcement, I mean, your package, a big package, you've got a lot of workings or historical deposits. And I think we spoke about this, how there is a big gap between discovery in the Isa area and today. It's unlike most places where you've got a lot of activities in between. You know, you must be very, I mean, with all the discoveries of late, you must be thinking, hey, you know, maybe we were right in our first thought to be here.
Yeah, I think it's gone exactly to plan, just a little bit faster than I expected. So we always believe that the Mount Isa inlier, especially the Mary Kathleen domain, has a lot of smoke. So there's a lot of mineral occurrences there. There's a lot of copper and gold mineral occurrences, but not many of these occurrences and workings have actually had drilling, because I think the presumption from a lot of the larger companies over the last 20 years or so was that, you know, these things aren't big enough for a large company. So they were looking for, you know, 100 million tonnes like Ernest Henry, or 50 million tonnes. But, you know, if you can find something that's 5 million tonnes like the Barbara deposit, which is north of us, which has already been mined out, what, 5 to 10 million tonnes. That's a substantial amount of material at a reasonable copper grade. So that will really have a strong re-rating for the share price if we can find something like that. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential for those sort of small, medium-sized but higher grade copper gold deposits. And you know, we're yet to see what sort of what the resources will be at Carnaby's Nil Desperandum and Lady Fanny. But I'm watching that very closely to see what they get. So yeah, I just think the whole area is underexplored, and Carnaby approving that now. And as we generate our pipeline of targets to test, I think we'll have a lot of success as well.
So what are the markets people telling you? Obviously, you know, I mean, we spoke about this. I'm very surprised. I didn't realize that your market cap's only about 20 plus mil. And obviously your share price has done well, etc. What are the market people, the money guys, saying to you in terms of, you know, prospectivity of this area now? Because I think a lot of people are surprised. I don't know, I wouldn't use the word surprise. Maybe they're learning now that there is a lot more upside here than maybe first thought.
Yeah, look, I think the market is very excited. We're starting to see a lot more deals getting done in the area, M&A activity. So that's been really hotting up over the last couple of months. I think our shareholders are very happy as far as you know, we came on at 20 cents with a market cap of about $8 million, and that was really on purpose because we got the assets at a reasonable price. We didn't have a whole lot of vendor shares, so we kept the enterprise value and the shares on issue quite low, and that was all you know, all strategic, so that if we did have a bit of success in the area, then that would be reflected in the share price, and our shareholders would do well. And at $20 million, you know, market cap now, we still are very cheap, and there's a lot of potential for that to be re-rated when we do some drilling, and if we get an economic intercept, you know, we should see a re-rating in our share price. But you know, we raised around $5 million in late November with the IPO. So we're not in need of any money at the moment. We've got a program ahead of us. We're well funded, and so we won't be going back to the market. So we'll stay, you know, our share price or our shares on issue will stay quite tight. We've only got 40 million shares on issue, and 50% of those are owned by the top 20.
Yeah, well, that's good. I guess going forward, for everyone's you know, understanding of what's happening with Cooper Metals, is what's the news flow going forward? I mean, what could be happening?
Yeah, well, we've got like, I guess we're doing exploration programs in all different time frames, and the reason for that is we're trying to build a pipeline of targets and projects. So to do that, we've got an airborne EM survey scheduled for the second quarter of this year, or the June quarter, and that is designed to follow up on what the government had started with this wide-spaced airborne EM survey. We're doing a detailed airborne EM at about 300-meter line spacing, and that will rapidly scan a lot of our tenements for any conductors that might be due to, you know, to accumulation of sulphides. So that's what we're doing, sort of on the to build a pipeline of projects, and hopefully that generates a bunch of targets that we can then follow up on the ground with some mapping, geochemistry, ground geophysics, and then drilling them. In the shorter term, now that we've done the first fixed loop EM survey, we've got targets at Python and targets at King Solomon. So we're just going through the regulatory processes to get to get access to the ground, the heritage surveys, etc. That's all in train, so that we can be drilling there as soon as possible. Yeah.
So in all that thing, when's the truth machine going to hit the ground and see some geochemistry?
Yeah, well, we're working as fast as we can to get it out there. So it'll be in Q2 or the June quarter, once we get all those approvals out of the way. But it's all going to plan. It's difficult to get drill rigs at the moment, but we've already penciled something in. So once we've signed the contracts, we'll have more to say to the market to let everyone know when that's going to happen and exactly what those targets are and where they are.
You know, there is a saying that don't drill a perfectly good project because your share price is doing really well.
Yeah, look, I'm, as a geologist, a technical geologist, I'm really excited to drill these targets, and I want to get out there as quickly as possible with the Truth machine and test them, because they're good targets, especially at Python. So I'm very encouraged by that. So I'm happy to get the Truth machine out there and test it. But it is important as well, to have that pipeline of targets that you can go back to, and you're always learning about an area from the work that you do. And unless you start drilling, you're not going to learn. So I think some of those companies like Carnaby, Hammer, they've been out there for years, plugging away, sticking to their knitting, doing their homework, doing lots of drilling, and now it's paying off for them. So while we expect and want success in the short term, you've got to get out there, do the testing, and if you learn from it, whether it's a success or not a success, you learn from it, refine your models, and keep going. And I think the success will come.
Oh, look, I agree. I'm actually thinking, now that I realise that your market cap's only 20 mil, that drilling is going to be fantastic. I mean, there's the mineralisation that you're seeing, and now that you're vectoring with your geophysics, and then seeing what Carnaby has come up with, I think this is not a bad punt in some ways. So. Look, Ian, I mean, thanks for your time. I think any last words to get those guys to buy more, or those sellers to sit there and hang in there?
Look, I think, it's a proven mineralised terrain, and we've always said that from the beginning. Our strategy when we were looking for projects for Cooper Metals was to go to proven mineralised terrains that were underdone, and that has truly been proven as a good strategy by Carnaby in recent months. And so we hope to emulate that success up there, and I think we're doing we're doing everything possible to replicate that success. And I'm very happy with how far we've got since we've been listed now for just on, say, 3 months. We've got robust targets to follow up. We've got money in the bank, so we'll be testing those targets, and the success will come. And I just will briefly mention that we do have the WA projects as well. So we completed that regional soil survey at our Guru project, not far from Deflector's mine in the Gulliver Greenstone belt. So we'll have some results out about that very, very soon, and we'll be following that up as well. Now, we've also got the Yamana project in WA, not far from Gruyère's, Gold Road's Gruyère deposit. So there's a lot happening, and there's a lot of news flow coming up. So I think investors, it's a good. We're undervalued, and it's a good company to as you say, take a punt on.
Well, look, I am. I like it. I think it's. I mean, we had this conversation in December, and I have it on record that I said I did like the projects, and obviously the share price has taken off, and look, it shows some confidence in the market that they do think that you may have what Carnaby has, and I think if any little things you could take away from that, I think that's a good confidence show. Look, Ian, thank you. Really appreciate you giving us an update, and I will be eagerly following you guys, and I hope the guys out there who are watching this have the same thoughts. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Samso. Look, and if people want more information, of course, just go to our website. You can subscribe easily on the website. Just click the button, and you'll get the news as it comes out.
Okay, great. I'll talk again.
See you.